Hey everyone, welcome back to another video. Before we begin, please smash that like button. It really helps the channel grow and I greatly appreciate it. Many questions arise when we delve into the Force, but its dark side brings an intriguing fascination. During the days of the Old Republic, ancient Sith possessed the power to consume entire worlds. World Eaters, they were called, while others mastered the art of transferring their essence, almost achieving immortality. A lesser-known facet of the Force is its connection to magic. Legends delves deep into magical content, but for this video, I'm going to do my best to stick to canon. I'll let you know when I venture into the non-canon territory. In the era of the Clone Wars, we meet characters like Palpatine, Asajj Ventress, Mother Talzin, and learn more about others like Darth Maul and Savage Opress. What ties them together? It's their association with and the practice of magic in varying degrees. Among them, only one stands apart as a non-Dathomirian, Palpatine. So why do we include Palpatine in this mix? During the Clone Wars, Palpatine acknowledged the potency of magic, particularly the Nightsisters led by Mother Talzin. The power of magic even almost killed Count Dooku, Palpatine's protege at the time, further highlighting the power of magic. Yet we have to delve deeper into the non-canon novel here, titled Darth Plagueis by James Luceno. In my view, this novel deserves canonical status, and if you haven't read it, I strongly recommend it. It's probably the greatest Star Wars novel ever written. Within the novel, we catch a glimpse of one of Palpatine's earliest encounters with magic, around 40 years before the Battle of Yavin. Upon meeting Mother Talzin at the time, he becomes aware of a young Zabrak, who later becomes Darth Maul. Palpatine eventually sort of abducts Maul, forging a new Sith apprentice. But this journey not only yields a formidable apprentice for Palpatine, but also unveils dark side magic to him, aiding his galactic conquest. What specifically he learns remains shrouded in darkness, but one thing is certain: Palpatine's ascent includes the vast knowledge and acquisition of magic knowledge, and the magic knowledge he learned at that time on 40 BBY on Dathomir with Mother Talzin, something that should not be forgotten. Palpatine doesn't solely focus on magic and apprenticeship here, but he covertly monitors Plagueis' attempts at life preservation, perhaps even spreading himself a little too thin, as we'll see later. Palpatine's desire to grow in the realm of magic possibly waned due to his need to eliminate his rivals in his conquest for galactic supremacy. So why did Palpatine want to use magic in the first place? The answer really lies in his insatiable thirst, as mentioned, for galactic conquest. As Darth Sidious, he was driven by an unquenchable ambition to achieve absolute power. The lore of magic, particularly the dark side of the Force, promised him that enhanced power. Power that could help him crush his opposition, rule with an iron fist, and explore different areas of the Force that we'll be talking about in just a moment. And adding to the why, we have to talk about Palpatine's fear of death. He craved immortality, a way to cheat death and wield his power indefinitely. Magic, with its promises of extended life and even immortality, presented a tantalizing solution to his mere mortality. And in addition to immortality, Palpatine knew he could become an even greater master manipulator with magic, as we'll talk about in just a second. He also believed that mastering magic would provide him with an unparalleled advantage, as we've just highlighted why. The ability to wield magic would enable him to overcome obstacles that would otherwise be insurmountable, further solidifying his authority. And in this quest for magic, he'd also be satisfying his insatiable appetite for knowledge. Magic represents ancient and dark side abilities of the Sith, known to really not many people at all. Unlocking the deepest mysteries of the Force would further quench his thirst for understanding, tapping into the darkest and most forbidden aspects of the Force, like the ancient Sith before him. And lastly, enhancing his power in the Force through magic would allow him to decimate his opponents even further. So now we return to the canon and we talk about the two main examples where Palpatine uses magic. We do witness Palpatine employing magic, albeit less proficiently than Mother Talzin, and we can see this in the Star Wars Rebels series, during the time when Ezra and Ahsoka venture into the world between worlds. This world, which is possibly the most Force-potent area in Star Wars, becomes accessible to Ahsoka and Ezra, as mentioned before. Portals leading to different eras, offering glimpses into the past and to the future, something that obviously would attract Palpatine. World Between Worlds in this episode is accessed through the painting of the Mortis gods, and is activated by Ezra. Palpatine's underlings at the same time are excavating the site, because Palpatine already knew ahead of time that a higher form of the Force lies within that Jedi temple. Fueled by greed and power, Palpatine carves his path into the portal, but in a different place. We see Palpatine reach into the World Between Worlds and almost pull Ezra out. And while we're looking at Palpatine, he never actually walks into the World Between Worlds, but we see him overseeing a sort of basin, a pit, and even kind of looks like a pensive. The basin, filled with blue flames, is being spoken over by Palpatine in an ancient incantation. and we can see that even though the magic itself is not green like the Nightsisters, the blue hue and the flames itself possibly represents a different form of magic being cultivated by Palpatine. The second instance where we see the use of Palpatine's magic arises in the Clone Wars episode titled Sacrifice in Season 6. In the episode, Palpatine learns Yoda is going to Morban, the ancient Sith world, but he doesn't know why. In the episode, Palpatine tells Dooku that he needs him to use his bond with Yoda. Assisted by Dooku, he channels darkside essence into a Sith ritual Bazin to unveil Yoda's purpose and his visit to Morban. Interestingly enough, when we look back at this episode, the location is heavily guarded, and the Bazin I'm referring to is probably the same Bazin that Palpatine would later use to access the world between worlds. Palpatine's mention of ancient darkside rituals alludes to the magic in his conversation with Dooku, and as they channel their essence into the Bazin, Palpatine communicates with Yoda, orchestrating vivid trials, though eventually failing at the end in his quest to break Yoda's will. In canon, and in the non-canon with the Dark Plagueis novel, these instances reveal Palpatine's proficiency in magic, and though perhaps not on par with Mother Talzin, nonetheless it continues to be intriguing to contemplate magic's role in Palpatine's rise, his hold on power, and his resurrections, including his essence transfers in Return of the Jedi, and possibly a second transfer essence of a life in The Rise of Skywalker. Please let me know your thoughts on Palpatine and his magical prowess through the Force. Don't forget to hit that like button as it helps the channel grow immensely. Definitely subscribe and don't forget to share. While figures like Palpatine may just be around the corner through magic or even the Force, just remember, the Force will be with you always.